Hello, welcome to RTL Wireless News. I'm Roberta Prescott, and my topic today is network function virtualization. And to talk to me about this, I have Ilan Tevet from RED. Ilan, we've been hearing about network function virtualization for, a couple of years.
2 years probably.
2 years. And I know Huawei has invested $32 million in a lab. So I'd like you to discuss a little bit more about it.
Well, we believe that there are a lot of opportunities for the service providers that they can achieve through virtualization. Today, service providers are interested to find ways to offer new services to their customers, not just connectivity services or even SLA-based connectivity services. They want to offer more. And the way service providers are doing that today is through dedicated appliances. So if a service provider wants to offer, for example, a firewall service, he will use an additional dedicated piece of hardware that he will locate at the customer premises. And if he wants to add another service like encryption, he will add another box at the customer premises. This, of course, is very complex to manage. It takes a huge amount of time to actually install these appliances, which means that it takes months before the service provider is able to actually get revenues from these new services. In the meantime, the customer is not happy because the customer wants the service today and is not getting the service. So service providers are losing revenue opportunities, but they're also losing customers, which are abandoning them and going to the competition. Virtualization is going to change all that because it will allow service provider to deploy new services by a point of a mouse, by a click of a mouse, within seconds instead of weeks or months. So this is a huge promise for the service providers. And Rod, I think you know, we've been leading the access market for many years. We are one of the market leaders for Care Ethernet, working very closely with the Metro Ethernet Forum, defining the standards, pushing forward the technology. And in the last year, Rod was the first company to incorporate a virtualization engine within our demarcation devices. The idea is very simple. Customers, service providers are deploying our networking devices in order to demarcate the service that they are offering to their customers. Thanks to this virtualization environment that we added to our products, now service providers can simply download additional applications in order to offer value-added services to their customers within seconds or minutes rather than weeks or long months. So virtualization creates huge opportunity for our customers, for the service providers, and RAD is leading this trend, and we want to continue leading that. And this is why we made such a huge investment in the NFV and SDN lab in Israel in the recent year.
And how does this connect with a software-defined network? I mean, carriers can use both, or if they use it in a separate way, it will make the same, or will they take more advantage while combining those two concepts and technologies?
From one side, SDN and NFV are a little bit orthogonal because you could go with an SDN approach even if you don't do any virtualization. SDN talks about better ways to manage networks, okay? Better ways to integrate different components of the networks, and better ways to allow quick modifications of the network resources. You can do that without virtualization. Okay, you can integrate different EMS or NMS from different vendors into some kind of an umbrella system to give you end-to-end control on the network. By the way, this is not a new concept. If you remember the Telemanagement Forum from 10 years ago, they talked about, end-to-end provisioning in a multi-vendor, multi-technology environment. So SDN, in a sense, is not a new concept. Of course, it includes some technology enablers, which will make this integration easier. NFV, on the other hand, is really something completely new. The idea of virtualizing network functions is something that is very much appealing to service providers because it will allow them to enjoy from both worlds. to be able to get the best possible embedded capabilities from one side, and from the other side get the best possible software functionality, not necessarily from the same vendor. Until today, if you wanted to get a very powerful system, you had to go either to one of the big network equipment vendors, and you were limited to what these guys were able to deliver. NFV breaks this equation because it will allow the service provider to get the best of class device and deploy over this device different applications. And if he wants to change the application, he can do it overnight without having to wait for new features from this equipment vendor, without having to go through very lengthy certification processes. Now, while these two technologies or concepts are not 100% linked, service providers that will deploy both will have some synergies. Because when you go into virtualization, you're actually going into a software world, deploying software appliances remotely. And this goes very much along the ideas of SDN, in the sense that it will be much easier to deploy an SDN environment or solution when part of the network functionality is actually software-based and can be downloaded, activated, or disabled on demand remotely.
And are Latin American carriers actually adopting these two technologies, or we are in kind of a trial moment? I've been hearing some carriers that could be trying to adopt it or just analyzing the technology, such as, I guess, Algar or other carriers like that. What do you know about it? What can we expect in the region regarding to NFV and SDN adoption?
Okay. Well, we have to remember that NFV started just 2 years ago. So this is really something very, very new. And as every new technology, it takes time before you actually start to see mass deployments. We already have the first trials already 1 year ago, because RAD is really one of the leading companies, definitely the leader in the access. The first trials were in North America, and we're starting to see trials also in Europe. In the recent months, we already started to see actual tenders from service providers who wants to check the market and validate multiple solutions. And we're starting to see that as well in Latin America in the recent months. So NFV is just 2 years. 2 years ago, nobody heard about that. And there are already many POCs that are going. I guess you're aware of the Etsy POCs. The public POCs that Etsy is formalizing. RAD is participating in one of the public POCs together with several additional vendors. This POC is sponsored by CenturyLink, one of the big operators in North America. And in fact, I know about one, probably the biggest operator in Latin America, which is already in process of issuing a tender for this technology.
Would it be American Mobile?
I wouldn't, yeah. I guess you're right.
And can we expect more? I've been talking with carrier CEOs at the show, and I understand that they are evaluating the technology before embracing it. Do you think over the next couple of years we are going to see much more development and adoption?
Well, I think this is true for any new technology. RAD was one of the pioneers for TDM over packet technology. It took years since the technology was incubated until we saw mass deployments. Same goes for ATM, same goes for any other technology. In the case of NFV, we believe the cycle will be much, much faster. The reason for that is that actually NFV is first of all driven by the customers, the service providers. The big NAPs, they don't like NFV so much. They will not admit it in an interview, but for companies like Cisco, this is not their preference. And
Sorry, but NFV can be a threat for them. I mean, when you put everything under the software layer, it's something kind of threat or
Yeah, I think in any new change there are risks and there are opportunities. Some of these big equipment vendors already understood that there are more opportunities for them. I think companies like Alcatel already understood that, and they established business units dedicated to software and to virtualization and to SDN. Others are still in process of understanding. But the point is that this is really mainly driven by customers, by the big operators, because they really understand the value for them. And this is why I believe that NFV will happen much faster than the old technologies. Every technology takes time before it is massively deployed, but in case of NFV, we see, 2 years ago nobody spoke about that. In Mobile World Congress, this was the big hype. Now we already see trials going on. So it will happen very quickly, I believe.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Follow us at arcelwireless.com.